Gary Erickson, the former CIO with a number of award-winning companies in Michigan and beyond, is now the managing partner for Executive Search Partners. And we've had Gary on the show a number of times. And his thing is he's looking for well, primarily CIO types out there. But I mean, you take it from here and explain exactly what you all do. So.
Executive Search Partners helps companies find senior level IT people. We mainly focus on companies in the small 300 million up to 5 billion. We do a lot of work with CIO positions, director positions, and then occasionally we right now we're doing 2 searches for a managing director for a very large consulting company. That's a pretty substantial search for us.
So that'd be like a good Dave Phillips kind of job then, right? So
yeah, Dave would be wonderful for that, right,
okay.
Dave? It looks like I'm looking
if it's something I can do from home, if it's something I can do from my bar, we can talk. That's
okay, perfect.
So Gary, the pandemic has certainly had a big impact, a significant impact on all of our lives and jobs and everything. How has it specifically affected IT positions overall?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that. So first off, I think the pandemic has increased significantly the stature of IT people. All right. We've all recognized that the frontline workers have been the heroes of the pandemic, but I think IT people are right behind them. IT's ability to rapidly enable remote work for employees saved jobs and lives because people didn't have to go work next to each other. And then IT's ability to rapidly implement systems to remotely engage with customers save businesses. The second thing I've been thinking is that everybody's talking about working remotely. I think the working for remotely is here to stay. If you're working outside of your home office, that's different than being a worker remote, which is meaning somebody in another city doing work for your company here. I still think companies are still going to want to hire local and still want to bring people back to the office. And then from a recruiting but from a recruiting perspective, we're beginning to see some people asking us for, can you find me some? I'm primarily San Francisco. We want to find somebody in a cheaper area. Can you find me a manager or a developer who's in Denver, Colorado, for example? And we're beginning to see some of that. It's not a lot. It's not a tidal wave. I think it's just something people are experimenting with.
So has the pandemic changed the role of senior IT people then?
Well, because of the, I think the recognition that IT has been critical to the survival of businesses and critical for sort of the changing nature of how you engage with customers. I think that's changed, and it has changed and will continue to change. The CIO role has been slowly shifting from a technology leader to an IT savvy business leader. I think the pandemic, I want to say, significantly accelerated the shift. I think that's an understatement. I think it slammed that shift into full gear. And senior level executives are going to be looking for their IT manager to be an IT business leader first who knows technology. And because of all the work we do in recruiting senior level positions, I think we're going to see a shakeout in senior level IT positions. There are a fair number of people that we talk to there who are really good technologists, but when we quiz them about how their technology and what they've done has changed the business, enabled the business, engaged with customers, reduced costs, they keep coming back to the cool technology that they've implemented. So I think we're going to see a shakeout in the next year or two of senior level IT positions as companies who now recognize how important IT is to them. We need somebody at the top and in our senior executive IT leadership who knows the business first and technology second.
This might be an opportunity for some schools that teach technology to incorporate MBAs, sort of basic business training in with the technology and have that sort of hybrid degree. And I'm thinking there's one in Southfield. I don't know if they do that or not.
Yeah. Well, there is a reason that LTU's B school is called the College of Business and Information Technology. And you can get a Master of Information Technology as it's an MBA with an IT focus. So that's a been a degree there for, I don't know, about a decade, I think. So, I mean, there are a lot of schools on top of that. I know there's a couple other schools in Michigan that just um, announced a tech-centric business degree, and obviously we've had those for a long time too, where you study information systems, not so much from a coding or hardware perspective, although the neat thing about Lawrence Tech is that those classes are available to you because we have a lot of them. But it's really more of a how IT enables the business to do all the things that Gary just talked about.
Gary, to your comment, I was a heads down nerd. My master's degree in computer science was all about putting hardware and software together at the bit level. I mean, really, it was
fun for me, but
I enjoyed that. And then when I got to Ford and started working there, I decided I wanted to get my MBA, and that shifted my perception tremendously. I learned what business is all about and then how IT could fit in there.
So you're looking for more people like you, essentially, then, right? So
yeah, well, a little younger, but yeah. Well, I can't say that, can I?
No, you can't. I don't know what we can say anything we want on this show. So
okay.
I mean,
yeah, how do you transform all of these trends into advice for existing IT talent? What would be your tips, for people who are looking for a job right now?
Well, there's, first off, you think about we've always thought about two career paths: the technology career path and the business career path. If you really do want to move up in IT, though, you've got to recognize that IT is a business enabler, not a cost center, not an implementer of cool technology. And the other thing I'm going to get a lot of people tell me, well, this doesn't happen at my company because I report to the CFO or they think of me as a cost center. My reaction there is if they don't recognize how important IT is to you, especially after the pandemic, I think I'd go find another company.
Yeah, and of course, people with those kinds of skills, I would think, are going to be very, very valuable going forward, right?
Yeah, I would think so too. I would think that, especially at the senior IT level, companies want a leader who says, "Hey, look, I know we've got computers that run and they've got good uptime, but here's the kind of things we can do to really reduce our costs or increase sales." And increase sales is, getting products to customers faster, providing online access to them, providing long-term customer engagement through a number of different venues, including putting technology inside products so you link it back to the corporate office. An IT person, a leader who thinks that way about how they can enable the business because they can put technology in underneath it to make it better, they're invaluable. And they're the only ones that most of our clients are hiring these days.
Yeah. And I really get the idea that you expressed about how working remotely or working from home or working from anywhere is sort of the new normal, because I just have an example in my own life. My son's best friend from high school has an IT position at a very IT-centric company in Ann Arbor, whose name you would recognize. And he was working in Dearborn. He visited my son when my son was living in Syracuse, New York, met and fell in love with a girl in Syracuse, moved to Syracuse for a while. Then they moved back to Dearborn, and then they just moved down to North Carolina, where she's originally from, so she could take a teaching position. He has not changed employers. He's changed addresses 4 times. Wow. So, he could do that job from any place.
So my younger son, and his very steady, we think, fiance girlfriend, live in San Francisco. Both of them work in Mountain View, but one for Google, and he works for a startup company. When the pandemic hit, everybody started working remotely. Well, they've spent a month in Florida. They're now currently in Boulder, Colorado. It's the same thing. They can work from anywhere.
Yeah.
So as we come towards the end of the show, this is the part that everybody wants to know. Hey, I rhymed that. So what kind of advice would you offer to IT leaders out there? What's the number one thing they should do to get some of these really great jobs that are begging out there?
So so they don't get replaced as well. And as you see this wave coming.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, first you've got to recognize that if you really want to be a senior level person, you've got to know the business and you've really got to learn the business. Ask yourself how much time you spend with other leaders in the business, just not IT people. Do you go to business conferences? Have you visited your customers? Have you visited customers of your competitors? But that recognition and that learning is very important. The second thing I recommend, and this is similar to other things I've said, is you've got to have a number of success stories that list what you've done. And these at the senior level should be business enablement success stories. And I don't talk about putting in a new email system or
the cool technology. Don't talk about that, right?
Yeah. And when you talk about what you've done, it's what was the business problem you were trying to solve, what actions did you take or lead, and then what measurable results. And the results measurements need to be business measurements. Not I put in this number of new desktops, but this is what it did to sales. This is what it did to company costs. And then the final thing is take those success stories and rewrite your resume to show those business enablement accomplishments.
Okay, and then when you get that resume done, send it to you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was leading into that, a shameless plug for you, Gary. So where do they send that newly improved resume? What's the address?
It's G Erickson, and it's ERICKSON at execsearchpartners.com.
And of course, the website is the same thing, execsearchpartners.com.
Yep. And look for top IT recruiting companies in Michigan in the web, and you'll find us as number one.
And just before you go, I know you do nationwide stuff. What is going on in Michigan? Now because of the pandemic, is there a lot of demand for these types of people here in this state, or is it elsewhere?
I think anecdotally, I think the demand is still down in Michigan. I don't have statistics on that, and they usually lag too. The state statistics usually lag by 2 or 3 months, so it's hard to tell what's going on. It's got to be improving, but when I look online at LinkedIn and Indeed for positions in Michigan, I'm still not seeing the numbers that we had pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Traditional four-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life, but LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.